didn't hear it.
All right, good evening. This is the Urbanna Town Council work session, this April 25th, 2024. Let's have a call to order. Mary Hanson is not with us. Sandy Sturgill,
Here.
well, she's with us, she's just not here.
Yeah.
Alana Courtney.
Here.
I am here. Larry Tuning.
Here.
Beth Justice.
Here.
Marjorie Austin.
Here.
All right, having a quorum, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The agenda is before you. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to approve agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion moved in second. Any discussion? No discussion. Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Larry Tuning.
Yes.
I say yes. Alana Courtney.
Yes.
Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
All right. First item on the agenda is public comment. Now, as a reminder, and actually there's not as many people as I thought there were going to be, but you're limited to 3 minutes. Please address the council and try not to make it personal, but have it on subject, not anybody's personal items. What? What?
Read it verbatim. Did you have it up there?
Oh, yeah, public comment response by council will take place after all members of the public who have registered have spoken. All right. First on the list is Sarah Jane Wyatt.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Jane, and I was a member of the Waterfront Committee that was appointed by the former mayor, and I'm here tonight to support the signage that I read about that's proposed down at the end of Virginia Street. As you know, talking about Virginia Street was sort of what got the Waterfront Committee together, and we came up with a plan that I thought was a very comprehensive and good plan that we presented to council, and it was adopted. And I think the signs that are talked about will help to allay any confusion about that area. But I also just did want to say, in that report, we talked about doing a real kayak launch, a natural kayak launch, down next to the marina, moving the fence with signage, and there's parking right there. That would alleviate all of this confusion and problem, I believe. We also proposed putting in a small dock and a memorial to the Payne sisters, even more than what is there now, and to make that a place that the townspeople can enjoy and visitors can enjoy. I don't know if y'all know, but there's been a person in town this week that does an important national podcast on water towns. And it's been a little embarrassing. I've talked to Gary Lister, who couldn't be here tonight, but they couldn't get the kayak rental thing to work. There's nowhere really to put one in. And then finally, I want to commend the work that Larry Tuning has done in putting together that map and all of that information. And it's online, and it's really wonderful. But how can people use it if there's not a great way to access the water? So I'm in favor of these signs, and I think if we did something down there with a sign saying put in here, again, it can be at your own risk, whatever the town needs to do. I think that would be really helpful.
All right.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mike Sheffield.
Good evening. So I'm speaking on the same topic. On Sunday, the 14th of April, my wife and I launched kayaks from Payne's Landing, as we've been doing for over a year, along with other members of the community. And when we returned, I was given some not accurate information by a council member, and I addressed that with the town administrator. The things I was told by the council member were that there was a plan to put a park there, that construction had already begun with the addition of gravel, that the town had decided that you were no longer allowed to launch kayaks there, and that the town is going to move the fence at the far end of the marina to allow launching from there because it is a better place. Everybody can agree on that. When I called the town administrator the following day, he said he had no knowledge of any of that. There was no plan to make a park. that it was unlikely to ever move the fence because of various logistic issues, and that the town had not authorized any kind of barricade of that property. So I emailed the mayor and said, what's going on? Is this officially blocked off, not blocked off? He forwarded me an email chain with another citizen. I'm happy to share that email chain with anybody. I'd love to read it into the record, but 3 minutes doesn't allow that. One of the things brought up was the right-of-way access for emergency vehicles. As a former career fire captain, intimately aware of that. Right-of-way means just that. It's plenty of access there if you signage parking along the fence for 2 vehicles, plenty of access to the right of it. The agenda tonight makes mention of that should never be allowed, should never be blocked. Town's going to lose some money at Oyster Festival then, because every year the town deliberately blocks that completely for over 48 hours. Not to mention that if the idea of not allowing parking because it impedes emergency access is accurate, we need to do it with all street parking within the town of Urbanna. Because you can't get to the front of any of the buildings. No dumpsters, no cars, no nothing. If the town decides that that is a legitimate reason to block the parking from that area, I request the town seek the input of the County Emergency Services Coordinator as an expert in the field. Also, no one presented me with any evidence there's been complaints or problems until right now. No one bothered with Montague's construction people blocking the entire thing for extended periods. And there's no water access here. You can't ask people to launch kayaks under a dock. It's not safe, but that's what we do right now. So I ask that council member that has personal bearing on that recuse themselves from all voting and discussion, as their property adjoins this property. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Thank you,
you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Dan Sneed.
Yes. Dan Sneed, Colorado Avenue. Lived in this town for a right good while. I've worked at the marina. I'm familiar with what goes on down at the waterfront and that sort of thing. And there is concern about blocking that access for fire safety and that sort of thing. And my question is, if we put something down there that's for the public, who is going to monitor this? There are things like blocking the road for the fire trucks. There are things like lighting. There's sanitation. I mean, if people are using this dock, if people are coming in, where will they go to the bathroom? I'm sure Latney's not going to open his marina for that. So I think this whole thing needs further study. And also, the Corps of Engineers needs to look at this. If we're putting a dock out there, Latney has a dock that comes over. The condos have piers that come over. We need to see if this is the right thing to do, and will it be used for more than kayaks? That is a concern. So the town, I know, has been talking about putting a kayak dock on the north side of the marina, which I think is a great idea. If we get that moving, maybe we can eliminate the problem of not having access to the water. So I would really like to know what this pier would be used for. Is it just going to be for sightseeing, fishing, or kayaks? We need more information. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Mike Jolly.
Thank you, council and staff. Mike Jolly, 26 Oyster Road, which is Oyster Harbor Condominiums, and I am the president of the HOA Association, so I'm here on that behalf as well. We support the signage that's recommended down there, and some kind of way to keep people from possibly parking there long term, or any kind of thing like that. I do want to mention that is a designated egress for emergency vehicles to get around behind the condos and get to the marina of ours, which happened during the fire, if you can all remember that. I would recommend, and I was also on the Urbanna Creek Committee and helped Sarah Jane with the presentation. Dan's concerns, I think, were addressed there. I think it might do everybody some good to go back and re-review that. And I think all of those concerns were addressed during that presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, those are the people that signed up. Anybody else want to public comment? Since there's people here with concern, I'll leave. All right, moving on. Council comment that there is a portion where we're talking about this as B. I think we could address that comment at that point, because that's what all the items are associated with. And so I think we can move on if everybody is okay with action items. Any action items, Mr. Costin? Yes, sir. All right. Project updates.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, ladies and gentlemen. Your first item is related to the Friends of Urbanna. Meetings with this group concerning the essay contest, open house funding, and other matters turned up an undocumented relationship that the Friends of Urbanna serve as advisory in an advisory role to council regarding the historic Scottish Factor Store, which serves as the Urbanna Museum and Visitor Center. All parties desire formalizing this understanding in a memorandum of understanding. Now, what you have behind the agenda item summary is a communication from them with some proposed language and some issues to be addressed, or they could be addressed in the MOU. The staff recommendation is to create such a document, but that would include an obligation on their part to provide regular reporting, and we've discussed quarterly, as well as a funding commitment involving a dedication of the cigarette tax and the Museums of Middlesex contribution, which has been the practice. It's just formalizing sort of kind of what's already happening. At the council action requested, it would be that you direct staff to develop an MOU as with the noted components for your consideration at a later date.
Can it also be added into the MOU that before changes are made, that we're apprised of that ahead of time and not after the fact?
Certainly. And you're talking about structural changes, physical changes, landscaping changes, anything?
Well, the inside of the building, to the building itself, landscaping or whatever is not detrimental to us unless they plant poison ivy, but.
Okay.
But the inside of the building and any, like the porch, those kind of things are before they're done, not after.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Because they
And the
do
regular
a great
report-
service.
The regular reporting should be helpful to let us know where they stand. Because that was quarterly?
It's been discussed quarterly. You could make
Yeah.
it monthly. You could make it twice a year. You make it whatever you want to
Okay.
make.
All right. Good on that.
Well, I think quarterly's good unless between the two quarters, they decide it needs a new porch. So come and talk to us before, not after.
Or if they get a grant.
So at a minimum quarterly.
Right.
Right. I think that's a reasonable time frame.
All right. I think I have the consensus to go forward with that.
Yes, sir.
Proceed to the next item, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
All right. So this is the town-owned property on Virginia Street access issues. I'm just going to highlight a few things from the conversation. We're not talking about a pier. Let's put that to rest. We're not talking
Exactly.
about a pier. David Lehman, the emergency coordinator for the County of Middlesex, has been consulted. He was provided a copy of the summary. He was provided a copy of the plat, and he saw no reason not to proceed with the proposal. Okay, so he has been consulted. I think we might have a little miscommunication between Mr. Sheffield and myself. If you'll remember, sir, I had to call you back to say ask exactly which fence you were talking about. Where had you parked? And because I was thinking of the fence going down to the marina, he was thinking of the fence right there at this piece of property. I don't recall discussing the fence in the marina, but that has been talked about. In fact, yesterday I was on the property with the gentleman servicing the kayak rental, and the reason it needed to be serviced is the batteries didn't get charged up enough. So the reason it didn't work today is they pulled the batteries and they're charging the batteries and making that that switch out. Unfortunately, the person trying to use it today used it the one day of the year that there was no batteries in it. So
Was there any signage on it saying that it was down for repair,
I
anything
don't-
like that?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. But we also talked about the location of where it is compared to where it could be. You know, we walked over and did look at the property, the fence being moved back. I'm going to be very cautionary here. I'm a little concerned about the vegetation that has been allowed to creep out onto the, I'll say, the workable side of the marina as to how much of that is wetlands, how much of that is wetland indicating vegetation. And that's something we've got to look into before we just go haphazardly changing, moving the fence back. Because one thing you don't want is a wetlands violation notice, and I'm not going to do time for you in the federal prison. So, all right. So, moving on to the issue at hand, we did receive an inquiry, which I've addressed, that what were the limitations on the use of the property as a public access for a launch of kayaks and parked vehicles. So what we've discovered is it's a 20-foot wide easement that exists for emergency vehicle access and I'm going to call this a parcel, which is approximately 0.1 acre in size. That's about 30 feet by 150 feet, okay, on average. You've got an actual depiction of it in your packet. It's the shaded area. And essentially, as no one can predict when you might need to have emergency access, it should be unobstructed at all times. It's not exclusively delineated. It's not the 20 feet along the southern edge. In fact, if you really look into it, it kind of shows just a rough sketch of it literally coming down the middle and then arcing off onto the condo project. But it's not survey accurate. It's there. There's a 20-foot easement, and the reality of the situation is if a large piece of fire apparatus had to go down there and it's straight outside of 20 feet, who's going to argue at the time? Okay?
Exactly.
So it's really a public safety issue more than anything else. And then you also have down there, you've got the marker for the museum in the streets. You've got a private property fence, so you're really left with only about 10 feet of space that you could park a vehicle. All right, now to give you all some dimensional concepts, if you look at the parking space right out here, from the gutter pan to the white stripe is 18 feet. So from the gutter pan through the white stripe plus 2 more feet, that gives you 20 feet. So basically, as you're standing at the side of your car, what you see in a line of parking spaces is the width of that emergency easement, and you've only got 10 feet to spare on the other side. Okay, parking space width is about 9 feet. So you're really you're squeezing a car in there pretty tight, or a truck, or anything else, pretty tight into that space. So the staff recommendation is that you go ahead and council authorize, or can at least consider this evening, allowing staff to develop, procure, and place signage that would prohibit parking at and within the 30-foot easement located at the terminus of Virginia Street. Be happy to take any questions you have at this time.
Something I know that Mr. Sneed could probably fill this out. I know that we gave the people at the marina samples for kayak launches down at the north end, and sort of in-house, we've been working more to try to get that done because that is a better spot and it's definitely safer. typically, we try not to act on things at work sessions, but in this case, we've sort of decided as a council that when things become an issue where we need to maybe move to put something to bed, that it's probably better to do it sooner rather than later. And I think it makes some sense because we're talking about signage and setting the parameters going forward, that I think it's appropriate to entertain a motion to do what is down there as the action requested, consider directing staff to procure and place signage to address the no parking and maybe kayak and canoe launch and waiting at your own risk type of signage down there moving forward so that it doesn't become an ongoing issue. I know people have used it for other things in the past, and you can make all kinds of statements as to who did what in the past, but if we set the path going forward, then it'll leave no question as to what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And so if council would so choose, I would entertain a motion to direct the staff to create that signage and set that stuff in motion. And I realize Sandy, as somebody who has a vested interest in this, just like
Recuse
Mr.
myself.
Jolly, that you should probably recuse yourself.
I did.
But I would entertain a motion from anybody else.
I will make the motion.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to direct staff to procure signage that's appropriate for no parking and for appropriate risk statement for the end of Virginia Street. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. When you buy property in the town of Urbana, you have deeded water access. So that's public property, that's town property.
Right.
That's water access that we're denying people
No, we're not denying access at all.
access. And then if they're going to park, we need to offer something for parking, whether it's at the marina, up behind the museum, not back at their house.
Well, no, but the marina is public parking.
Well, I know when we've gone down to park, we've been instructed to take our boat and trailer home. So the marina doesn't allow anybody to park there. They will come out and tell you to leave. So we have to provide these people with a place to park.
Can we change that?
And, whether it's the marina, in the signage read, go park at the marina, or take your car or truck back up behind the museum,
Okay.
because there is parking there. Because, to have deeded water access and then not be able to access the water,
You can access it, you
It's-
just can't park your car.
You just
and
can't park
truck
your
there.
car?
that's fine not being able to park your car there. But you also, and just don't put a no parking sign, offer solutions to that. And, so
Well,
that's,
when you, coming up with, the issue at hand is
Excuse
whether
me?
we allow parking there or not. And with the feedback from the emergency services coordinator, David Lehman, and the space that we've got there, I think it's inappropriate personally to have parking there.
no, I understand that.
Okay.
There's not enough parking there. There is
Right.
not.
Okay.
I mean, if one car goes there, if Mr. Sheffield went down there and parked, there's room for one car. And if there's a fire, the fire truck's going to get through there. As Mike knows, we talked to, we had, Ray down there when we were talking about painting the fence and putting the flowers in and putting the table down there.
Right.
He showed us where the fire trucks would have to go through.
Right.
So we know that. But, you still have to give somebody a place to park. You have to give them options. We just can't say, well, you can't park, but good luck to you.
Well, I guess the question is, do we allow parking there or not?
No, I'm not saying there. I'm
Okay.
saying at the marina
No,
or up behind
I
the
understand,
museum.
But the issue at hand is, do we allow parking there? And I say no parking there. And I understand what you're saying, but that's,
You're also talking about signage, period. So I'm saying on the sign, the no parking sign needs to have the option of the marina or behind the
Okay.
museum. Because the condo folks rightly do not want people filling up their parking lot to go to
Right.
the marina.
all right, so you're asking to deal, which is a separate issue, find parking elsewhere in town.
Not
I think she's trying to say,
put
utilize the marina parking.
on the no parking sign for there. You can't park here, but you can park at the marina or behind the museum.
Okay.
put it on the signage. So yes, it is
Okay,
part of
all right.
this.
So that could be part of the signage? That's-
Right. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. So you want to amend the motion to say, to also direct people for parking, that gets a little complex, but,
No parking here, park at Marina or behind museum.
okay. All right.
It's not very feasible to park behind the museum.
It's,
There's some part.
there certainly is.
There's-
There is, but
yeah.
it's not, doesn't look very safe going up
Well,
that
I mean, that's,
I think
then you-
most anybody knows they could park in the marina, as long as we tell the marina people,
Yeah.
to let them park here if they're going to put their kayaks in.
yeah. And some of that problem will go away if and when we get a kayak launch at the marina, which is what Mr. Sneed was suggesting at the north end.
Right.
And then it becomes foot traffic, which is totally appropriate for foot traffic to access to the, to that slip of land so that they can see the water, dip their toes in, whatever, at their own risk. And so I think in conjunction with what you're saying, Marjorie, it makes some sense to try to develop some parking. That's what we're talking about with all over town, is finding places to park.
Well, that's what we're
But-
talking about right now is
But,
this. And you can,
it
it
sounds
can
like
be
we're all in
directed to
agreement.
park at the marina or behind the museum. There's a lot of parking behind the museum.
We're all in agreement that it shouldn't be there, so,
Right.
which is really what the motion is, and then where we send them is another issue.
And sign production.
Right. All right?
Just as a point of clarification, I guess, the kayak trail was done, in coordination with the Urbanna Creek Committee. And at that time, I think, along with the Urbanna Creek Committee, and I agreed, we wanted to start that thing at the north edge of our marina. The first station is there, number one. In other words, when they get in their kayak, that's number one. Now, I think there is a station, there on the 30 feet. It's 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that.
Right.
So, but the intent was to start that thing on the north edge of that marina. It never started anywhere. I mean, it wasn't on the 30 feet. That's where we wanted it. And I think that's where it should be.
I agree.
Agree.
Well, the parking issue, not to kick the can down the road, but let me kick it down the road. I think the issue is to get the parking out of there, and we can make suggestions as to museum or to the marina. I don't know that it's that much traffic, but at least it gets it out of there.
One car is enough to create an issue. So,
You're talking about at that location?
at that
Yeah,
location,
absolutely, that's why it's no parking there.
right. And on the sign, it can
And
say
that's-
park
and
at the
that's
marina or
goal-
park it behind
The
the
goal of this
museum.
motion is to make sure that that's clear.
Right, and sign production is what it says.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Take a vote. Marjorie Austin.
Is it going to be amended? The motion for signage? Because this is what this is about. This says production, sign
Yes.
production.
What sign production is in there? So
Mr. Mayor,
what?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
members of council,
yeah.
what we can do is we can draft something up and you have a chance to look at it.
Okay.
And, maybe it's a bigger sign, what we may have anticipated rather than, no parking and,
Right.
launch only or something like that. We can go to something that has a little bit more
Information.
information to it, more like what you're going to see at the pool with the pool rules.
Right.
A larger sign.
Thank you.
that
That's
kinda,
very helpful.
So,
Yeah.
We need a sign that points to where the marina is. So if
yeah,
we could put
yeah.
the sign there and have parking at the marina on that side, it seems to make perfect sense.
a directional.
And just leave this alone.
And as far as the parking in the marina, we're over here passing notes. It's the first we've heard of something like that. And I'll be honest with you, I was down there yesterday, again with the kayak rental folks, and saw someone launch their boat. and pull their truck and their trailer up and go on the boat and leave. So I don't know if it's, depends on who's down there, but we'll get to the bottom of that and try to unify something.
Right.
I mean, I have literally had people with the center console back into that lot thinking they're at the launch for the marina. And went out there and I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, isn't this the town marina launch site, here? People don't know. You've got to put some signs up.
And so that might satisfy your issue if the signage says no parking marina this way.
I think what Ted said is a great idea.
Yep.
I think that would settle everything.
Yep. Okay. All
I mean,
right.
if we got to put a temporary no parking sign there for now, then we go for it. But, it needs to just read where people can park, other than people just being told, you can't park here, go.
Right.
We have to let them put their kayaks in.
All right. And like I
their
said,
paddleboard or
if we
their
can get it
John
together
boat.
to find the funding to put a kayak launch at the north end of the marina, then a lot of this stuff goes away because it would just be marina this way, no parking here, marina that way.
Could be, but
And so I guess the motion becomes no parking there and allow staff to develop proper signage at the end of Virginia Street.
yes.
All right.
Mayor, can I speak?
No. But get to me afterwards. Okay. All right. Beth.
Yes.
Yeah. Marge.
I was wondering why
Yeah,
you left her
oh.
out.
Oh. No, I thought you voted. Or,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay. Larry.
Yes.
I say yes. Alana.
I don't know what the
All
hell
right.
I did.
So we'll work on signage and get that done. All right. Next item.
Was I speaking,
Thank you all.
speaking of Chinese or something?
Where's everybody going?
Paying for that.
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, the next item is the 4th of July band contract. I think everyone knows where we stand with the fireworks this year and trying to find some other activities. There's still a lot that's being planned and being worked, but we have our first contract. This is for $2,500 with the Michael Clark Band featuring Tracy Clark. Staff recommendation is to consider acceptance. You can ideally act on this at your next meeting, but it's for your awareness and advice on how to proceed.
it's not something we can act on now to go ahead and secure this?
I'm going to defer to one of the members of the committee. Is it crucial to lock it down? Might they go someplace else?
I mean, I don't think they will, but, the quicker you sign the contract, the safer you are than staying. Because if they think, well, they might not sign it, then they might go somewhere else. So it would be good if we could sign it as soon as we can. And I know they want a deposit.
I did fail to mention that the town attorney has reviewed it and finds it acceptable.
Good.
Finds the contract acceptable.
Well, then I'll make the motion for it to, for the town administrator to execute the contract authorizing the ban for 4th of July.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? No discussion? We'll start at the other end. You can vote this time.
Hot dog.
Sandy Sturgill.
Yes.
Alana Courtney.
Yes.
I say yes. Larry Tuning.
Yes.
Beth Justice.
Yes.
Marjorie Austin.
Yes.
All right. We have a band.
Okay, because we're going to have 4th of July either way. Okay.
That's right.
We still have the 4th of July. It's just no fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but there'll probably be some fireworks if another pipe breaks.
All right. So the next item is updated pool rules. The council has adopted pool rules in the past. However, looking at those rules with our insurance carrier and also with Signature Pools that is going to be operating the pool for this first year, there were some concerns that they have with the rule. Most notably, there was in your adopted set of rules, there was one that says you could dive beyond a certain marker at the pool, and this pool has been built completely enwrapped with notations about no diving because of the depth
not
of the
deep
pool.
enough.
It's not deep enough. Now, there would be an exemption for competitive diving because it's going to be at the deep end and it's more of an angle out dive than a down dive. Some of the other changes were to include vaping as an activity that would not be permitted, and then actually some concern about how close a guardian had to be to non-swimmers or those under 6 using flotation devices like the little arm flotations. Staff would recommend that you consider these for adoption at your next meeting. I'd be happy to take any questions you have about the proposed pool rules.
That's not something that we need to get going since the pool's going to be opening next month.
It shouldn't take us that long to get
Okay.
a sign done.
Okay.
Excuse my ignorance, but what is vaping? You're talking about the smoking?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
A lot of that anyway.
Well,
electronic cigarette.
it's just electronic. Yeah, it's the water. They call it. It's a water vapor, flavored water. Yeah.
I think we should add
It's
something
legal?
about language.
Yeah.
I think that's in here,
It's in
isn't
there.
it?
I didn't see it, but it might
Thought
have
it had
missed
to do
it.
with swimming or something.
I'm not sure if there's anything in there
Yeah, I've
about.
heard
No.
some horrible language over there.
I thought I seen something about it.
Risk. I thought I saw it at one of the sets of rules, but
Yeah.
maybe it's not in here.
Maybe it's,
No, that should be in there.
yeah, I
The
think we should.
language.
Bad language.
Use of any kind,
Language.
vaping.
Language.
Language.
Is it on there? And I'm not.
No, I'm not seeing it in this one. It was in the other one, though.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Let's
agree.
put it in there.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, I agree.
We could add it to the line that says no horseplay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Or offensive, yeah.
Or offensive language.
Or offensive language.
Yes.
Yep. Or offensive language. Yep. Because it's not uncommon for them to go together.
Exactly.
Do we need to list the bad words? I mean, some idiot will come along and say, define bad language.
You'll have to explain
Define
that.
offensive.
You'll have to explain those to me too.
Exactly. What century are you from?
Not this one.
All right. All right. Moving on.
All right, this one should be a fun one. This is an outline of a draft of the pool opening event schedule. Sets out obviously the place, but also the date and time. I am proposing rain or shine, and that's an outline if this is something you all want to follow. A couple of questions there at the bottom. Do you want to have a printed program, sort of a keepsake for folks?
I think that would be pretty awesome.
And then the other would be, do you want us to try to solicit a few vendors to hang around and be there,
I think that
11,
also.
11 to
Yeah, I
about
think
12:30,
so.
something.
Positive pizza.
Yeah, pizza goes with pool.
Yeah. And Ned would come. I'm sure he would. He comes to. The Positive Pizza is owned by a fellow named Ned. I can pass you the phone number.
Okay.
After the meeting if you'd like.
Just make sure everybody who is particularly on the committee, pool committee,
Absolutely.
make sure all those people are invited in some manner.
Yes.
How you gonna do that, but,
Well, we were thinking just, invitations.
yeah. don't
Nothing.
leave- Please don't leave anybody out.
Yeah.
And no responses, we'll give them a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you've got Marnie and Barbara.
Barbara and Sue.
Right.
Sue.
Sue, all those people.
Yep.
I mean, it wouldn't
Christy.
even be crazy if we invited, what's her name? Brendan's wife. If she went.
Oh, yeah.
Harris.
Sue
Yeah,
Harris.
Sue Harris
Yeah,
with Tegan.
Yes, with Tegan, absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, would get this.
Well, I'll, since you all know all these folks and I don't.
We'll come up with a list.
Yeah, I've got some suggestions there about who you want to invite as distinguished guests, but if there are other people that you wanted to.
Well, definitely
add on
Sue
there.
Harris and Tegan, definitely.
they're not that far away, and her sister's still in town.
Yeah, and because Brendan was, he passed from
Pancreatic.
pancreatic cancer, and he was a firefighter and he got the pool the pool committee project started. He was very important within the pool committee.
Okay.
Okay.
So are you okay with the order that, because we're going to start working on, invitations in, the program,
Yes,
if this is what you want to follow.
yes.
Looks good.
All right.
And well, I guess it could be in announcements, but it's germane to this. We do have somebody that's trying to put together a swim team at this point.
And that's in there. And I have played phone tag with the YMCA folks to see what they might want to do in the way of some programs, offer some programs.
Nice.
So I tried to kind of do it in terms of a history, Mr. Junie. You're up. And
Catch me on a good day.
I think that's a commitment, and everybody heard
Exactly.
it. And
Larry has now committed.
I thought that Mr. Kime should have a role in it because he was for the project manager.
Yes.
And he can kind of bring you up to the current day, and then the road ahead with the swim team and YMCA, how it's going to be used, and then when you can read for yourself there, the Marshall family representatives, the pool committee, some words by both of them, and then a ribbon cutting.
So did you add Barbara Hartley and,
Yeah, she's down.
I've just got
under
pool committee.
pool
Okay.
committee.
I've just got
and
pool
Garth,
committee.
Yeah, for
Garth Wheeler as well,
a few
I have
words
and Roy Kime?
I have past administrators as someone to be invited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then it's good to have that sun shelf so that they don't have to dive into the pool necessarily or
Yeah.
jump and they can just
Jump
walk out on
into
the
the
sun
pool.
shelf.
Jump
Yeah.
into the pool.
No?
Walk into the pool.
For like.
No
like
jumping,
Marshall,
no diving.
Like the first people in the pool to step out on the sun shelf.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Okay.
That it?
Anybody else have any questions?
I just wanted to say that the names are going on the donor wall this week. And anybody that hasn't given, that wants their name on the donor wall, or anybody wants to look at this and make any changes, it needs to be done if we're going to have it up by then. It's got to
Right.
be done soon.
Yep, it would be good to have that up so that the recognition's in there when we open up.
You could put that in the newspaper.
And right next to pool memberships available.
Yes.
Send me an email with what you want to say.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And then I guess we're on to announcements, right?
I have an announcement. The Monday, June 10th and Tuesday, June 11th in Abington, Virginia, VML is hosting their first ever small town conference. So if anybody cares to drive 5.5 hours, it's most likely going to be a pretty good program that VML will be putting on.
It's for 2 days.
2 days. So I let Mr. Costin know that I was very interested in attending, and so I guess anyone else that would like to attend either lets Bill or Ted know. So
And it's sort of in an announcement. It's a question for Michelle. Did the signs get ordered for the memberships?
Yes, I'm just waiting for them to arrive.
Okay.
They're even,
So we're going to have banners up at the pool and the signs like for election type signs for the entry points of the town.
Okay, good.
That will be pool memberships now available with the town office number on them. A little more involved for the ones that are on the fence at the pool, but another way to let people know that they're out there and available.
Sandy, or I guess Sandy, did we get the pool furniture yet?
Now, you want to go to Richmond with me on the trailer to get it? picked
Sure,
up?
I'll go with you.
Okay, Wednesday.
Okay. We can do it.
Yep, and who do we have to thank for that?
The McDonald, Tom Bishop.
Okay.
McDonald's Incorporated, I guess. But we don't have any umbrellas, if anybody has any ideas on that. I've reached out to a few people, but still need them.
What is the cost of an umbrella?
Each one, high quality, with the stand underneath, about 150 each.
And how many do we need?
Oh, we're gonna get I think we need at least 6 around there, don't y'all? There's not a lot of space.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe going to Ace Hardware to see if they wanted to have their name on them.
Yeah, she's usually pretty good to help out with things. So, yeah, if you want to go, or I can go. Either way, because I've gotten, they've donated some stuff before for things that we were doing.
Yep, we need the heavy things underneath too.
Right. Okay. 6 of them. Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Costin? Michelle?
Yes, please mark your calendars. At this point, it's going to be June 21st, which is a Friday evening, will be the military banner dedication. Details to follow, but we will pretty much do what we have done in the past 2 years. Just as a reminder, the current banners that are up were purchased last year, so they flew half of last year, and they're up now until June. When these come down in the middle of June, the brand-new order will go up in time for the 4th of July.
Nice.
And we'll do that dedication on June the 21st, which is
June
Friday evening.
21st.
So the ones that are there now were there last year, and then those will come down and the new ones will go up.
And what time, Michelle?
We're going back and forth, but it's probably going to be 6, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the firehouse again?
I'm waiting on confirmation,
Okay.
so I'm not going to commit.
All right.
Okay, yeah, because that was a beautiful thing you did last year. Thank you for all your work on that, Michelle. You've done a great job
And my
in
partner.
getting those. And then we've got Steve and Pam Simon and Maribel to thank for getting all the flags on their poles. Because it was a heck of a pole fight in here the other afternoon with the flags, getting them all attached. They look like the Three Stooges, honestly.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
I
Go
second.
second. Sandy's already leaving.
I am.
Any discussion? Marjorie?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
I say yes. Alana?
Yes.
And Sandy?
Yes.
Okay.